This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We're live in downtown Vegas. Circa Resort Casino is your spot. Day 2 of the Masters. Plenty on that over the next 3 hours. The second to last night, the penultimate night for the NBA, Paulie, as well. No games tomorrow. Sunday is the last card on the final day of the Masters. We'll get into that. Major League Baseball, only one-day game, so that means a heavy card later on tonight. Great guests on the program. We'll talk NFL draft with Mark Schofield and rumors in the draft. He had a great story of a very popular team that could be trading up to make a pick 2 weeks from last night. Matt Vasgersian, our buddy, MLB Network, play-by-play. On the show, we'll talk baseball with him in an hour. Chad Anderson in town for the Frozen Four from Denver. We'll go over Nuggets, Avalanche, Frozen Four with him then, and Jeff Sherman over at the Westgate on the Masters weekend. So this thing was turning into the Rory Invitational. Quickly moved to 8 under, had a 3-stroke lead right away this morning. He gave one back and a couple of holes back. He is now through 8, and somehow, some way, he is 7 under, and he saved par at number 8, putting from the edge of the green, in fact, a little bit off the green, and he almost sunk that bad boy. And that would have been somehow, Paulie, a birdie to move back to 8 under, but he put it within an inch of the hole. Then obviously he parred. So he's sitting there right now at plus 142 at DraftKings to win this thing, ahead of your guy, Patrick Reed.
It's his tournament.
Who was 3 back, along with Justin Rose, who bounced back beautifully today.
2 back.
Yeah, 2 back. Sorry.
And something just must have happened. He moved to the second choice now. He's now plus 850 to win. So I feel good about where Pat's at. Be a great story. I know humans will be pissed, but it'll be beautiful. And let's see, is he on number 10 that he's making some noise? So Rory's unbettable. Plus 145 to win the tournament. That's crazy to me. So it's a good leaderboard. Lurking, looming is Schauffele. Don't quit on Schauffele. Does this every single year. And I know Koepka gave it a good run as well.
Oh, he's in it.
So, Hatton had a great start. Hatton's right there.
I was on the wrong live golfer.
Yeah.
Hatton with a beautiful round today.
Yep. And Fitzpatrick also, I know, have him top 20. A lot of people have him. He's tied for 30th. He just had a long birdie putt to get to 1 over. So projected cut line is 4 over, and we'll see what happens here down the stretch.
Somehow, some way, John Rahm got to 4 under today.
Yes.
For the tournament. So as of right now, it looks like he would be in. By the way, Tommy Fleetwood, the 3rd shot on the board right now behind Patrick Reed. He's now at plus 940. Fleetwood is through 10 today. He's 3 under for the day, 4 under for the tournament. So he is right behind your guy, Patrick Reed. And then it's Justin Rose at plus 970 and Xander Schauffele at plus 1050. So what was it about Rory? Why did he balloon up so high? Nobody wanted him. I guess evidently David Baker, I guess, was making the case to bet him. He liked him because of the number. But is it simply because he wasn't exactly playing super hot like he was last year going into it, and there's no repeat champion since Tiger Woods like 20-plus years ago? Is that the only reason why?
Well, yeah, and defending champs don't finish top 10 either. That's the other one. That's another angle.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
But is that if he didn't win last year, there's no way Rory would have gotten to, what did he get? Did he touch 16 to 1?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't think he gets there if he doesn't win the tournament last year. So people were kind of avoiding him because of that no repeat factor since Tiger. And I'll tell you, last year on Sunday, Rory was absolutely nervous. He made some mistakes last year, and he hung on and he won in the playoff. And you could tell that he was so emotional afterwards. And maybe that was one of the reasons why he was more relaxed this year going in, and he didn't have that pressure on him anymore. And why he's gotten off to this blazing hot start so far.
Well, he couldn't hit a fairway yesterday either.
Not at all.
And still had a share of the lead. So do you think someone outside the top 10 right now can make a run? Because history says you got to be inside the top 10 here, top 11, if you're going to do this.
Well,
and if you go down, once you get outside the top 11, then you're talking, 5 shots back or more. and that's Henley, DJ, Cam Young, Matsuyama, and in English and Scheffler. Boy, Scheffler, oh boy, he's even now. Boy, 2 over for the day.
Yeah, did not have a great day there.
Oh boy.
Well, all of these stats tell you that you basically have to be top 10 after day one. And then all of a sudden you have a couple of guys like Wyndham Clark, who was awesome today. But more importantly, I guess, or a bigger factor would be Hatton, who was, 2 over for the day yesterday. And he put together the lowest round of the tournament so far with his score today. And he finished at, 6, because he gave one back and he finished at 4. So he was at 7 under for the day going into, I think it was one of the final couple of holes there. So he came out of nowhere, and he's positioned himself now nicely and certainly has a chance now. But I think after today, you can't be going too far down the board at all. Ben Griffin, did you mention him?
No.
He had a great day today, and he's at 3 under now, and he's done for the day. Also, I can't write off Chris Gotterup, who is just an excellent golfer. He had a really good spring with a couple of wins. Winter/spring, and he's lurking. Now, this is going to depend on what kind of a score Rory's going to post today, because if he touches 10, somehow gets to that number, then you're probably only talking about a handful of guys that could be in the mix. But if the leader after today is sitting there like around 7, where Rory's at right now, then you can go down to the current players who are 3 under, 2 under to get back into this thing starting tomorrow on the official, moving day. Maybe it plays out kind of like last year, where Rose puts himself back into this thing and we get Rose and Rory on the final day. And then Rose can finally win. I have nothing on Justin Rose, and I think it would be really cool if he won. And right now he's plus 970. He's plus 110 to finish top 5. A couple of bets that I made. Yesterday we talked about this in the final hour of the show as the first round was winding down. I did take a little X-Man at 11-1 last night to win. I also booked, I had this in pocket, Koepka, what was it, Luke, plus 235, I think, plus top 10. And I took some on, I was looking all night last night at Harry English to finish top 30. That was plus 105. I should have grabbed that. Instead, I grabbed plus 165 to go top 20. He was 1 under today. He's currently sitting at tied for 23rd overall. How about you? Anything else?
Nope. Just Pat Reed, Batia, and Fitzpatrick top 20. Hovland, Cantlake, Bradley, Cam Smith, Rahm all on the cut line. And Harman. DeChambeau's 3 over. So was Sergio. JT didn't play well. Adam Scott didn't play well. They're 2 over. And I wouldn't say there was a big surprise about someone who's going to miss the cut either, other than, I guess, McIntyre, who just didn't, and gave the green the middle finger after what happened with that debacle before we got off the air. But I would say the biggest names to miss the cut are going to be Bubba, McIntyre, and Berger.
Where is DeChambeau at right now?
3 over.
Okay, so he's at 3 over. He's safe for the moment, and he's at 1 under for the day.
He's got a lot of holes left.
He's got a ton.
Yes. Morikawa fighting. The humans pep talk worked. Even.
Oh, he's at even
9.
now.
Yes.
That's no good.
Going out, yes.
He's 2 under for the day.
Showing some fight and some guts.
We need to get him off the leaderboard.
Yeah.
That's no good.
Well, at least he's going to make the cut, too. That's the other thing.
It's uncanny, my history of betting on or fading guys who are seemingly injured going into a tournament. Because I had a bet on Rory earlier this year. The back's going to be fine. Okay, no problem. Had like plus 230 top 10. Had no chance. I think he withdrew in that tournament. Awful. Trying to fade Morikawa because of his comments, the back, not hitting a lot of balls. He was only like the farthest he could hit a ball was 280 yards the other day. So it's like, okay, this is not great. I bet him to miss, and I bet JT in a matchup. I hate betting on Justin Thomas, but I had to do this against Colin Morikawa.
Yeah.
And the other one was Matsuyama. But Morikawa is surviving and advancing the way it looks.
Well, no matter what happens, nothing's going to top what happened in the Padre game last night. So if you lose a bet, so be it. But condolences if you had that one last night. If 1-1 goes to extra innings and the game goes over, that is just sick. So good luck to everyone with the Masters bets, but onward and upward. I think you feel good about your Koepka ticket because he missed a couple birdie putts out there, too.
Oh, he did.
He could be 5 under when you think about it.
He was so up and down today. Good on one hole, bad on the next. Good on the next hole, then bad after that. But to be where he's at right now, I'll take that. I did not bet him to win outright. I just bet him to win, finish top 10. He's tied for 11th right now. And Schauffele just moved to the second shot on the board at plus 780. My guess is he's probably in good position here. He is 4 under now, 2 under through 10 on the day. Either did he just birdie right now, or is he in position maybe birdie again? He's not on the screen right now. But he's now the second shot at DK. He's even money still to go top 5. I actually think that's a good bet. He was plus 160 before today to go top 5. I thought that was a really good bet. And this guy has a great history here. Was totally fine yesterday. He's a multiple major winner. And I just think that he's going to be there probably on Sunday, lurking and looming, and with a chance to maybe pull this whole thing off. But it's a really good leaderboard for the most part.
Don't count out Jason Day.
Yeah.
Good job, Humans. 100-1. He's in the mix. 3 shots back. You're right. There it is. Yeah, he just birdied.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
There you go. Schauffele. Yep. So right there with 4 under. A lot of big names. Schauffele, Fleetwood, and Day.
Yep.
I'm ready. NBA, baby. This is going to be a fun night.
There's a lot to look at.
Oh, God,
it's
crazy. Oh, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
With the playoff positioning and seeds, and you can get the tanking parlay at plus money, too. There's so many damn games.
Mm-hmm. We'll kick that around. This is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard here on Masters Friday. So that NBA card is next. It's loaded. Seeding scenarios all over the place. And as Paulie just said, one more chance to go bombs away on a tanking parlay. We'll kick it around all coming up next here on VSiN.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, during the break, Patrick Reed with a birdie. So he moved to 6 under for the tournament. He's 1 behind McIlroy. And moments ago, Xander Schauffele missed a 5-footer for par. So he bogeyed. He dropped one, and he's down to 3 under for the tournament. So 4 back of Rory right now. Paulie, Reed at DK is plus 510 to win this thing. You're sitting on 42-1 in pocket.
Mm-hmm.
We go out to the progressive guest line. We'll talk some NFL draft here. Mark Schofield joins the program, SBNation.com. Mark, before we get into this, who did you have winning the Masters this year?
I had Rory. I went pretty chalk there. Maybe not the most inspiring, exciting pick, but kind of felt like, look, the way he played recently, the way he's played at this course, it felt like a good pick to make.
Yeah, looks good. Let's get into, you had a great column on SBNation.com about juicy rumors for the NFL draft, which round 1 is 2 weeks from last night. I'll begin here. We have had a flip of the favorite to go number 2 overall for a long time leading into this event. Reese from Ohio State was a $2 favorite or even more to go 2 to the Jets. Now David Bailey, outstanding D lineman from Texas Tech, is the very small favorite to go number 2 overall. What do you think of that?
That seems to be the way this is trending, Mitch, because like you said, in mock drafts, basically from December to about a couple of weeks ago, it looked as if Arvell Reese, the linebacker / edge defender from Ohio State, who's a very fast end player, was going to be the pick for the Jets at 2. And for a couple of different reasons. So this is a defense that needs a lot of help. They could use help at linebacker. They could use help off the edge. And you have a player of his caliber who could give you help at both spots. It seemed to be the perfect fit. But it has trended towards David Bailey, the pass rusher from Texas Tech. And I think the reason is this. While Reese can give you help at 2 spots, he's still a developmental project at both of those spots. Bailey is a plug-and-play pass rusher in week 1 of the National Football League when he arrives as a rookie. And this is a Jets team that needs to pressure the quarterback next year. Remember, this is a defense that did not get a single interception last year. They've got to get some pressure on the quarterback. Bailey looks to be a surefire pass rusher off the edge in week 1 as a rookie. And for a defense that needs to pressure quarterbacks, having a surefire thing that can step in and do that on day 1 of their National Football League career is a very good thing to have. So while we all thought Reese made a lot of sense for the Jets, this trend towards Bailey makes a lot of sense. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the numbers trend more in his direction the closer we get to night 1 of the draft.
When does the running back come off the board? Can Love go 4?
I do think he goes 4, Paulie. And,
Okay.
when we got into free agency, the start of free agency, it seemed like 9 was the surefire spot for him to the Kansas City Chiefs. They needed a running back. They needed to help Mahomes. They needed to help that offense if Mahomes wasn't ready in week 1. Then they go sign Kenneth Walker. So you start thinking, okay, where could Love come off the board? You look at 4 now. And that's because, look, Tennessee needed a lot of help on their defensive front. They went out and made a ton of moves in free agency and via trade to address that part of their roster. So now what can they do? They can help Cam Ward with a running back that can generate explosive plays, not just on the ground, which he can certainly do. He's a scheme diverse back, zone, gap, power, whatever you want to do from a run game standpoint. Love can fit that profile. But he could generate explosive plays in the passing game. And you think about Robert Saleh, you think about Brian Daboll, the kind of offense they want to run, the kind of team they want to have. Jeremiah Love makes a ton of sense for the Tennessee Titans at 4. So I'm sitting here right now, again, less than 2 weeks now from the first night of this draft. I do believe Jeremiah Love at 4 is the pick for the Tennessee Titans.
Do you think Ty Simpson ends up being a first-round pick?
I do, mostly because of a couple of things. One, need. You have so many teams in this draft that want to address the quarterback position. I think the Jets could still do it. Maybe it's 16. Maybe they slide back a little bit via a trade, but they want to come away with a quarterback in this draft. Another fun little rumor that we're hearing, maybe Arizona. Do they trade out of 3 and pick up an additional first pick? Maybe Arizona spot for Ty Simpson. And then look, Pittsburgh does make a lot of sense. Whether it's at 21, maybe they slide back a little bit as well. Think about who's picking behind them at 22. Los Angeles Chargers, they need some interior offensive line help. If a team wants to get ahead of the Chargers to draft an interior offensive lineman, maybe the Steelers can come back a few spots and still get Simpson. I think a team is going to look at what Simpson did over the first, say, 2/3 of this past season. When he looked like a first-round quarterback talent, they're going to look at that. They're going to look at the need. They're going to look at their roster. He's going to come off the board in the first round.
All right. Strong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Strong. Do you think teams are making a mistake if Bain falls outside of the top 10?
I do. I certainly believe that when you watch him on film, one of the things, gentlemen, that I love to see is when an offense at the college level has clearly been coached to identify where a specific defender is in the pre-snap phase of a play. Go back and watch that Ohio State game between Ohio State and Miami. On pretty much every single snap in that first half, you had all 10 pointed at number 3. Where was he? Where was he lined up? You're talking about guards, tackles, tight ends, receivers, running backs, everybody. This is an impact defender off the edge. I know there's been a lot of discussion about his arms. He's not long enough. He doesn't have the length of the football league. Watch him on film. Watch him beat offensive tackles to the spot. Watch him beat doubles to the spot. Watch the attention that he draws. There's a reason why his running mate on the other side of that defensive line is going to perhaps come off the board in the first round as well, because of all the attention he garnered coming off the edge from Miami. He's a massive reason that team made it to a national title game. And I do think, look, the teams that pass on him in the first, say, 4, 5, 6 picks, if he continues to fall more than that, they're going to regret it.
Okay, great stuff, and I totally agree. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Mark Schofield, SBNation.com, covering the NFL Draft, has a great story on juicy rumors, what could happen a couple of weeks from now. So a team that you wrote about that could trade up would be the Dallas Cowboys. Would Bain be somebody that they would target there, and how high do you think they would have to go?
Let's think about this from sort of Jerry Jones's perspective, right? You've got a team in your division, the Washington Commanders, that are sitting at 7. That might also have their eyes on a pass rusher, might also have their eyes on Bain if you were to fall, say, out of the top 5 picks. You'd want to get ahead of your division rival, your longtime rival, the Washington Commanders, and make sure that they don't get their hands on a pass rusher you're eyeing. So I look at the Cleveland Browns sitting at 6. I know they have 2 first-round picks. They've got the pick at 6. They've got the pick at 24. But if they could move out of that spot, come back to, say, 20 as well, get an additional first-round pick, and Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys could come up for a pass rusher that they want in Bain and get ahead of a division rival to do so, that seems to be a win-win for everybody involved. And so I look at the Cleveland Browns at 6. I look at Dallas getting ahead of Washington, who are sitting at 7 and also need some pass rushing help and need some help along the defensive front. That seems like a spot where Jerry Jones would want to get up to on the first night of the draft.
Okay. Now that's juicy.
Yeah.
Now that would be awesome if that would happen. What do you think happens to Sadiq? Great prospect at tight end out of Oregon. Where do you think he eventually lands? And do you think the Chiefs could consider him at number 9?
I think the Chiefs would absolutely consider him at 9. I'd say it's still probably a longer shot that he goes there. I think Kansas City could go in a couple of different directions. I think corner makes a lot of sense after the McDuffie trade. They could still go offensive line to make sure you get your best 5 in front of Mahomes. Right tackle is still an issue that they could address here in the draft. Maybe they would on that and go corner. But look, you are talking about replacing Travis Kelce at some point. He's coming back, but maybe is this the last ride? And when you watch Sadiq, the athletic profile, the movement skills, the way he can move after the catch, there are some similarities, some overlaps between his game and what we've seen from Travis Kelce, certainly in his prime and even recently with how he's played. And so would they consider Sadiq at 9? I think so. I think it's more likely that they go in a different direction. You might say, see Sadiq come off the board, maybe Tampa Bay at 15, maybe Carolina at 19. Those could be some landing spots for him. But Andy Reid would love to get a playmaker like Sadiq. And I'm sure if he's there at 9, he's going to be saying a couple of positive things about Kenny Sadiq, the Oregon tight end, in that draft from before they make the ultimate call.
Yeah. By the way, in about 90 seconds here, Mark, what do you think the Giants do at number 5? Do you think they go Styles from Ohio State, or do they address the offensive line?
Well, their biggest need is right guard. And Ione, the interior offensive lineman from Penn State, is, I think, one of the best interior offensive line prospects since Quentin Nelson. But it's hard to turn in a card with an interior offensive lineman when you're picking at 5. I think it's much more likely they go Styles. I think he makes a lot of sense from them, that athletic profile, playing behind that defensive front, particularly if they get Dexter Lawrence back. If they get that situation settled, you can keep him clean, let him flow and attack the football. I think it would make a lot of sense for them at 5. Look, Giants address that interior offensive line spot, that right guard spot at the top of the second round. I do think Styles makes a lot of sense. Early in the cycle, I was saying maybe a receiver in that spot, and every Giants beat writer I'm friends with would blow up my phone saying, don't you dare do that. No, it's Styles at 5. It's Styles at 5. So until I'm told otherwise, it's Sonny Styles at 5.
Very good. Last thing for you here. Who do you think is the best player in the entire draft, regardless of position?
That's probably one of the toughest questions, but I will say this. I think when all is said and done, Jeremiah Love is going to have a massive positive impact on the team that drafts him. If it's in Tennessee at 4, if it's another team that drafts him, because we've seen football sort of come back to the run game mattering a little bit more. We saw Seattle and the run that they made leading into that run game a bit. We're talking about a running back that contributes both in the run game and the pass game, generates explosive plays for the offense. I think whether it's, 3 prime years, 5 prime years, longer than that, Love's going to be a very, very big pick for the team that gets him.
Hey, Mark, that was a great spot.
Excellent.
Follow him on X at Mark Schofield. Read him at sbnation.com. Thank you. Get back to the Masters, all right?
Will do, Freds. Thanks so much for having me. Have a great weekend.
We appreciate it. Up next, win some, lose some. Paul's going to horrific beat last night. He's got the details coming up.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Always follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Thanks for checking in live in Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is your spot. Thanks for watching on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM Channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates. We begin this hour by going out to the Progressive guest line. We'll talk some baseball here with the great Matt Vasgersian on a Friday. Hey, Matt, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Yeah, guys, good. Doing good. We're all trying to figure out what ABS means for our game, and it's been kind of fun. Last night we were on the air doing the Diamondbacks Mets game, and the guy who had the plate last night, Eric Backus, was perfect in challenges. He had not had a single call overturned. And last night he had only one overturn, but the guy's like, I don't know, he's like 9 for 10, 10 for 11 in overturned calls, which is incredible. So like we're paying attention to umpires more than ever before. And we used to do that quite a bit to begin with.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Is there any like takeaway for this with the ABS now in our world, like in the sports betting world? Have you noticed anything there?
Well, it's a fact that strikeouts and walks are up and batting average is down. Last year, the league collectively hit 245, which was really low. This year, the league is hitting 233 through about 2.5 weeks. I understand it's early, small sample size, cold weather, but you got to go back to 1908 to find a time when the league hit that low. And if you just want to go by the time of the calendar, at this stage of the season last year, the league was hitting 244. So we're down to 233 right now. Runs are at an all-time low, 4.25 a game. Walks and strikeouts per team per game are at an all-time high. Almost 9 strikeouts a game and 3 3/4 walks per game. So what that means for totals, those hooks that you used to play on strikeout markets, they might go up to full numbers. I don't know what it means in the betting world. I just know that strikeouts are up, and I think it's going to stay that way. I think this is a function of ABS.
Very good.
That sounds good.
Excellent. Yankees in a funk.
Yeah.
2 hits, last 55 at-bats, hitting 120 against lefties. They get Matz tonight and Heels back. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a weird one, right? I mean, big picture against lefties. You gave the batting average number there, Paulie, and it's the raw numbers even more striking. It's 10 for 82. They got 10 hits against lefties. And if you take Aaron Judge away, it's like 6 hits. I don't know. I mean, yesterday, Jeffrey Springs was good enough to have shut down any lineup. So maybe the platoon numbers against lefties are a little misleading because Springs was that good. You know, we're so reluctant to give credit to the guy that shuts down a good team, and we always just assume that the Yankees are in a funk. They are. Let's not make a mistake there. They are. But they've also run into some pretty good pitching. So I don't know. Steven Matz tonight, that game's just going to be an interesting one to watch from the sidelines.
Okay. How about a K-prop that you have your eyes on for tonight? I'll throw this at you. The Angels are striking out at a clip of 29.2%. That leads the entire league overall at this point. And now they're getting Chase Burns, who has been just absolutely dynamic to begin, and he was so good last year with the K's as well. His number is 7.5, but, I mean, bet to the moon right now, like $1.65 on the over. It opened up minus 110. What do you think of that matchup?
Wow, it's moved that much at that big a number. I mean, the only cold water I would throw on that is that if Burns stays in the game long enough. And, you watch enough baseball and you watch how a 2-strike count can end in a non-strikeout very easily in this league. 7.5 is a big number, but boy, those Angels strikeout numbers do speak pretty loudly that you just mentioned there, Mitch. And I know that their lineup tonight is more or less their regular group. Boy, that's just a big number to pay that kind of juice, I think.
Yeah. So I was looking at this Nationals-Brewers matchup, and I was looking at it from a Brewers perspective to play like 3 or 4 of their guys with the total bases because of who they're getting on the mound tonight, who they're facing overall. I landed on a couple of Nats as well based on the numbers. Abrams has been awesome. Wood getting hot. I played their props. But what are you looking at here in terms of the Brewers tonight?
Well, it begins with the starter for the Nationals because Jake Irvin he's struggled and he does not have a very good body of work at that ballpark. He's made, and I looked into this too myself today just because it's just one of those things that pops out. When you see something like Christian Yelich 6 for 11 against a particular starter with slug, the next question is why and where. And a lot of that damage was at American Family Field. Jake Irvin's, he's made 3 starts there, just over 13 innings, 10 earned runs on 4 homers and 9 walks. So it's not just one guy that's gotten to him there, but Yelich he's the guy that stands out. Who else did you find in that game for the Brewers?
I was looking at Contreras. I was also looking at Terang back now there, and at a bigger number, the other guy was, I think, Frelick, because I think it was around plus 160 for 2 total bases out of him tonight.
That's interesting. Yeah, Terang coming back just means better things for the lineup, right? It just means whatever I don't know what their projected run total is tonight, but if they have their full group with Terang running as he does and the Brewers running as they do against the starter that struggled there. And by the way, it's not just at American Family Field. Irvin's had 2 rough starts to begin the season. So Yeah, that all makes sense to me.
So I also I don't like playing team totals when the team's at home because there's a chance they're not going to get the at-bats there in the bottom of the ninth. But again, based on it being Irvin, Brewers having good numbers, back to like full health the way it appears, 4.5 is the team total, and it wasn't juiced really at all. Your thoughts there, or maybe a first 5 bet on the Brewers?
Well, that's interesting. 4.5 is interesting. I mean, I really haven't peeled back any layers on that, but if you just, look at some of the matchup numbers with the starter, I do agree with your cautionary tale there on being careful on home totals. But that feels reasonable to me. I think that feels reasonable to me. I'll give you another one. I mean, you talk about Yelich's numbers against the guy he's facing tonight. Davis Schneider against Simeon Woods Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a small sample size. 4 for 5, 3 homers.
Ooh.
He clicked him twice in the same game last year. And this is what's interesting to me. If it's a guy homering on the same pitch type against the same dude, that's one thing. But Schneider last year homered twice in the same game against Woods Richardson on his heater and on his curveball, and he got him in 2024 on changeup. So that's pretty much the guy's repertoire. And Schneider's homered against all of it in 5 plate appearances, which is staggering. This is another guy who's not had a good run at the ballpark he's pitching in tonight. 2 starts at Rogers Center, 10 earned on 5 homers in 8 innings. And Davis Schneider slugs about 100 points higher at home than he does on the road. The thing that you worry about there is that, he's in there for the match. He's not in there for a platoon advantage because it's right versus right, but he is a guy that they remove in platoon situations occasionally. So if Woods Richardson ends up going short, or if he ends up going only 5, so it's 2 at-bats, there's a chance you only get 2 at-bats out of Davis Schneider. But the homer thing speaks pretty loudly to me. And we had another one of these that happened the other day with the Angels-Braves game right before the brawl. That was unbelievable. That Jorge Soler thing. Like, Soler had incredible numbers against, I can't remember his name.
Lopez, right?
Ronaldo Lopez.
Yep.
Yeah. He was like 4 for 5 with 3. It was like 2 or 3 homers, and he clicked him again. So sometimes you just have to listen to that track record and get involved. I don't know what the number is for a homer there on the sites that you guys check, but Davis Schneider is a guy that I would circle tonight.
That's excellent.
That's so good.
So your level of concern with Seattle cannot hit, lost 5 in a row. J-Rod and Naylor don't have an extra base hit, and still it's a miracle they have this record because the pitching's been so good. And do you like the new and improved Emerson Hancock?
My level of concern there is low, if only because the division is underwhelming. I think Houston's the best team in the division, but Seattle should be right there at the end, as they always are. And let's face it, J-Rod, he doesn't wake up until the All-Star break usually. I mean, I feel like that guy needs warm weather to get going. We talk about this with him every year. And then every July and August, you look down and he's got ridiculous numbers. So, yeah, my level of concern is low around Seattle.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, a guy that you have watched, maybe, did I run this by you last time you were on the air? I forget. If I did, I apologize. A guy that you have watched pitch plenty with the Angels, Jose Soriano. I mean, off to just a blazing start. And to me, if he can limit the walks and like the occasional blow-up game where it's, 4 innings and he gives up 5 runs and it's a bad one for him, I took him 100 to 1 to win the Cy Young, Matt, because I think his ceiling's so high.
Ooh, that's fascinating. And I agree with you on the ceiling. I agree with you on everything you said. Last year, he had the strangest home road splits. He was not as good at home. And I think we did talk about this because for some guys, it's not necessarily the mound. It's not the dimensions. It's not the view you have of the plate. It's where a pitcher begins his assignment. Like you either start in the dugout, in the bullpen, or on the mound. And some guys don't like to start in, say, sitting on the bench or in the bullpen. They like to begin the game on the mound. Mm-hmm. I don't know what his explanation was for the home road splits, but they were dramatic. And if he can figure that out, yeah, he's got the best stuff on the staff without question. And any scout that you talk to, and we've talked to plenty on him, he's the guy that everybody wants a piece of if the Angels ever go into sell mode, but I don't believe he will be for sale at any time.
Very good. Love the analysis as always and the knowledge. Thank you, Matt. We appreciate it. Enjoy the games tonight.
I'm going to be listening for some NHL picks because that's something that I can actually get involved with, unlike the game that I work in. So I'll be listening.
Thanks,
Penguins
buddy.
over, buddy.
Yeah, ride that tomorrow.
You got it.
Ride
Got
that
it.
one tomorrow.
Done.
Yep.
Thanks,
Well,
boys.
thank you. Well, you can only get in plus 380 with a home run.
Oh, is that the number? I'm still searching for it.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep. That's a DK, though. But those are incredible numbers. 4 for
man.
5 with 3 bombs. Man, for Schneider.
Remember,
And it's so bad, they got to throw Corbin tonight. They
How
have
about
so many
that?
injuries.
How
Yes,
about that?
It's Corbin. Corbin night, baby.
you know, sometimes that can be a thing. Devers absolutely owns Garrett Cole. I think he has like 8 or 9 home runs off him.
Okay.
And he was still like, up until I think 2 years ago, like 4-1 to homer. I'll take that against him. We have a developing situation right now at Augusta. We'll update the numbers at the Masters coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Oh, that.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Always follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. Masters Friday, McIlroy, 8 under through 14. Patrick Reed, 7 under through 17. And now you have Fleetwood and Sammy. So Fleetwood's on 18 right now. Sam Burns finished 6 under for 1 under today, 6 under now going into the weekend. And so he is 2 strokes back as we speak. And more on this right now as we head across town. Jeff Sherman joins the program. He is the VP of Risk Management over at the Westgate Superbook, and he's on the Progressive Guest Line. Hey, Jeff, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Doing well. How's it going, guys?
Doing really well.
buddy.
Let's start with this. How high did you get Rory on Wednesday night / Thursday morning, and did you have many people betting him at all?
No, I mean, he was middle of the pack on ticket count, and it's inching him up on Wednesday, mostly at 14-1, but Wednesday night went 16-1 on him, which I know was top market on him, just trying to attract a little bit, because if you look at the odds contenders, he was one of our better positions, so I was trying to sell a little bit, and it really never showed up, so he closed 16-1 pre-tournament with us.
Incredible. That is nuts. You were number 1 in tickets and money on Aubert?
Yeah, he was by a wide margin too.
Oh.
And it's people like what he's done at Augusta before this year, and even disregarding how his Sundays have gone recently for him. So he's a popular golfer, and I think they're going to keep supporting him, especially at Augusta, until he breaks through.
Can you share the breaking news? Because we don't have volume in the studio. What just happened on 15?
Well, Jim Nantz just said that Morikawa's back looks like it could be an issue again. So, it'll be interesting to see if he can make it through the weekend. But, anyone that uses him in a 3rd round, 4th round matchup, I wouldn't be looking to support him right now.
Oh, so that was Nance as Morikawa was on 15. He's 3 under for the day. Did he say anything about maybe grimacing or what the overall body language looked like?
He just said it looked like his back was acting up, and I think he said he might have grimaced, but they didn't show any pictures on TV. It was just him and Immelman mentioning it. So we'll see to what extent. I'm sure there'll be, post-round interviews that we'll be able to find out more. But, it's like I said, he wouldn't be someone I'd be looking to be on the weekend.
I wonder how many books are going to put up matchups, Jeff, with Morikawa. Do you think you're going to post one or no?
I'm not going to do it because I didn't do it pre-tournament just because of his issues. I didn't use him on a cut prop. I didn't use him on anything, just because of knowing about the issues going in. So, I won't use it now with there's always a chance with the back that he could withdraw. So,
Sure.
Just from like a bettor's perspective, you're not looking to be on him. You're looking to be against him.
What kind of action did you see on Koepka? And what do you think of his chances for the weekend?
Well, we always get a lot of action on Koepka in the majors. They don't do it in a weekly tournament, but in the majors we do. And, he's sitting there at 3 under. So just outside, I think it's going to be tough. He's a guy still, the way he's been playing the last few years, that it's tough for me to see him put 4 rounds together like we did when he had that strong run in the majors. But he always gets the betting support, and he is a liability for us in the outright market.
Is he? So along with Koepka and Aubert, then who else would ding you?
Right now at the top, Justin Rose. he was popular, which, I know he's done well here, but it still surprised me. It's such low odds at 30-1. I thought he should have been 50-1 in that range, but, people are happy to bet him at 30-1. Really, not too much at Koepka. Spieth was one, but, and then I'd say the other one that's 300, Cameron Young, just off his Players Championship win. He's been popular this year. Other than that, we're in pretty good shape at the top.
Was Pat Reed popular?
He was, but I was pretty aggressive on him when he was playing well on the DP Tour. I lowered him pretty quickly, and that was, one of the golfers I bet myself at 53-1. So we are in a positive position on him, even though he settled 30-35. I think I went to close him at 40-1, but he was popular, but I had lowered him proactively as he was doing well earlier this season.
Is there going to be a golfer or two that as of right now, and again, we have a couple of holes left for some of these guys, like Young is on 15 the way it looks right now. Do you think you're going to be higher or lower on any of these guys than the market once you repost the numbers tonight?
I'll take a look at this and stuff, but I might be lower on Fleetwood. I mean, he's just 2 off the lead right now, 500 today. And you'd have to really like his chances how he ended last year and getting some important victories that have been eluding him. So, just being 2 off the lead, I could see him being very live, having a great chance to win. And, I'll just have to see how things settle, but I might be a little bit lower on him, thinking I like his chances.
Follow the money, Paulie and Mitch VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Jeff Sherman, a Progressive Guest Line, VP of Risk Management at the Westgate. Some places have flipped in the last day or two on Rookie of the Year. Where are you at now with Knipple and Flag?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of movement on that. We have Knipple minus 140, Flag plus 110, and obviously we saw the 2 games in a row that Flag had that changed momentum after the poll had come out last week. We had as high as 10-1 on Flag, but then those games took place and it swung the betting market and, pretty aggressively there to move that much. But, just with all the advanced stats and then the eye test, that's what we're looking at the difference here. So right now we have Knipple a small favorite, which feels warranted based on the two because, I mean, it just depends how people feel like they're going to vote because obviously the better long-run player you expected out of Flag, and if you want to give it to him from that perspective, some people might. But then if you look at the basis on this season and the advanced stats and efficiency, then it would lean to Knipple. So it's just a feeling on how people are going to go which way. And right now it just leans to a small favor on Kahn.
Okay, so what scares you tonight on the NBA board overall, with only 2 games left, and how these teams could be really wonky with what they're going to do maybe in-game?
I mean, I'm not too involved myself with it. I've been looking at at Augusta today, so I haven't paid too much attention I haven't gotten involved myself in it. But you're looking at some positioning maybe, if there's teams that can control it. I know some of these teams are set. We have like the Lakers and Rockets looking like the 4-5 and seeing who can end up with home court. And I think that can be a big deal there. If the Lakers end up in the 5 seed behind them, I know probably I gave you Houston a $12 favorite in that series price. I mean, we would look at Houston about a 10.5 point favorite at home and 6.5 on the road. So if you flip that one game, that could lend a little bit to itself. But it's that's where we're looking at right now is the positioning of these things and who might want to be where.
Would you be scared at all of posting that number, assuming those 2 teams meet in the first round, and then all of a sudden we get news out of nowhere? Oh, look at this. Luka and Reeves are going to be good to go.
Well, the one thing about today's information, you get it so quickly that we rarely take bets before being able to either close it or adjust the number. So, if we get that type of stuff and it comes from Shams and we're able to close it and make an adjustment based on any change in time frame factors, it's not an issue these days.
Were there futures on the Celtics coming into this season, and when did the futures start to come in once they got off to the great ball they were playing from December on?
Well, we don't have too much. We have a little bit of liability on the title, not much on the conference, but we really didn't see anything overwhelming. I mean, they were sitting there at 40-1 for a while, even when they were playing well.
Uh-huh.
And then you started to see the adjustment when there were whispers about Tatum returning earlier than expected. And then you saw the books start to lower things, and then it started lowering rather quickly. And then once they kept maintaining that play with the fact that he was returning, you saw the aggressive movements where they went to less than 10-1.
By the way, do you have one eye on the Masters right now while you're talking to us?
Trying to back and forth. Yeah.
Did you see that from Cam Young? I mean, that was an absolutely gorgeous putt. Now back to back birdies. He's at 4 under.
5 of the last 6.
Yeah. No, it's the leaderboard is shaping up great right now, where you have a lot of guys that are going to be a lot of threats that aren't going to be afraid to win tournaments. Right. So it's going to be an incredible weekend the way we're looking at this.
Yeah, this stinks. Birdie for Rory.
Yeah.
Oh no, could be a runaway. Oh no.
9 under after another one from him.
And Reed's in trouble. Damn. Damn.
It's going to be, just watch out for the weekend with these conditions, though, because they can set up the course however they want to make it challenging, because it's going to be very dry. So, I don't expect someone to get to 14 or 15 under.
All right, that's a good comment, and I hope you're right. That should be the case.
How would you expect a Nuggets Thunder Western Conference Finals to go, or Spurs Thunder Western Conference Finals? Do you think either one of those teams could beat Oklahoma City?
I do. I think those are the only 2 teams that do have a chance. I mean, obviously we saw what Denver did last year, and San Antonio, what they've done this year against them. So I would have a hard time finding another team give the Thunder a threat other than those 2. But I definitely think that both of them are live. And I don't have any Nuggets futures, but I do have some Spurs, which I'm sitting on.
If you had a vote for the MVP, who would you give it to?
I mean, this is a tough thing, because, I think Wemby, and I still think Jokic is the best player, but all the games that he missed dented him. And even when he came back right away, he still wasn't quite right. But to me, he's still the best player. I think Wemby is the most valuable. SGA, I know he's going to end up getting it based on the market pricing out there with his efficiency and with the Thunder getting the number 1 seed. I hate hearing how that's the tiebreaker, where they say whoever was going to get the number 1 seed, I was going to vote for either Wemby or SGA. But that looks like where we're at this year. But, the one thing I've been telling people for the past couple months, when I start out the MVP for next season, Wemby is going to be the favorite.
Oh, he has to be. Absolutely has to be. There's no question about that. Great spot, Jeff. You can follow him on X. He is at GolfOdds VP Risk Management over at the Westgate. Joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the Masters, all right?
All right. Thanks, you guys, too.
Every time he tweets, he mentions how popular all year long Denver's been in the futures market.
They never really got to a huge number.
Yeah. But, the concerns about Gordon and also the defense. But I hope he's right. He called it last year that you're going to see OKC and San Antonio in the conference finals for 7 years in a row.
We're going to expand on the NBA card coming up. Loaded. Seeding scenarios all over the place. Paul's got a ton of bets that he likes, including a best bet on the card. Find out who he likes the most next here on VSiN.